Yep. Well, we can ask them about the playoffs right now because both captains are going to join us on our face-off.
All right. Well, gentlemen, welcome to the Faceoff. We have Meadowhawk repping his team. That isn't 07, but we'll get to that in a sec. And then Leif is going to be joining us. I'm loving the contrast here. Leif's looking all clean and tidy, and then Meadowhawk's got step and repeat and production value. And I'm liking this. We'll start off with the question of the day. Meadowhawk, first things first. Ugliest tank in World of Tanks.
Well, obviously the M6 Mutant is called the Mutant for a reason. But I'd say it's probably tied with the FV4005 because it's a box on top. Like it's ridiculously big. Like it's just no curves, no sexy lines, just a box on a tank chassis. It's terrible.
Yeah, I can feel that one. It just doesn't feel creative. Death machines are supposed to be sexy. All right, Leif, your choice. Ugliest tank.
Yeah, I actually had the FA4005 as well. It's not just a box; it's a porta potty. It's a tank chassis with a porta potty on it. It doesn't get much worse than that.
I mean, if there's anywhere that you're going to sit while you're shooting the gun, I mean, it makes sense, right? You've got a chair, you've got room for activities.
Long battle, I don't know.
I mean, see? Now you're thinking of the bonuses. All right. That's enough.
All right, Leif. eClipse, you guys, right now, Destiny's in your own hands. A win tonight, you get the second place guaranteed bye to the offline finals. What's your guys' kind of thoughts going into this match right now? Where are you guys at?
I mean, you said it. It's kind of a must-win for us. Not having to play in the online playoffs, getting to the LAN finals, no stress is really what we're going for here. It's a little bittersweet, of course. I play against 07, who I just played with this season even. But yeah, I mean, our minds are on winning for sure.
All right. Well, let's move over to Meadowhawk. We've let you sit there silently for long enough. What have you guys done to prep for this week?
Well, it's a big week. I mean, obviously everyone kind of knows that this game doesn't really mean a whole lot for us. So FOSS has really been focusing on team bonding, getting the team together, getting us working together. It's, exercises. We actually went to the Blackhawks game. Everyone sat and watched the stream. It was a great game against Nashville. They won 5-2. And, Chicago's a great team. They faced years of adversity, and their team members never left. They never left. And then they won 2 Stanley Cups. So, well, more than that, actually. I'd like to know how that kind of feels. But where was I? Oh, all right, team bonding. Okay, so, I think Fosta's real goal here is to stop eClipse from brainwashing our members to leave. I mean, obviously, I was so happy to see Vetro and Wally and Ox, manage to get out before they drank Tiger's Kool-Aid. So, that's really great. And it's great to see Leif, although, he's looking, he's thin, but he's looking a bit thinner. I don't know if they're feeding him over there at eClipse other than their BS.
Oh.
But, if Leif was with us, we do pizza nights now. And, everyone just orders their favorite pizza. I got Chicago with deep dish pizza. This thing is absolutely great. Look at this pizza. It's just wonderful. It's great. And so, I feel really bad because he's so skinny looking. So, you know what, Leif? I'm going to fix this for you. Right after this face-off, I'm actually going to order you a pizza. Don't worry. It might come during the match. That's kind of a good thing for us. But it will come during the match. Don't worry about paying. Compliments of 07. Just as long as you remember that when you wake up and you smell Master People's Axe body spray, that there's always a place for you on our team.
Yeah. That was beautiful, moving even, Meadowhawk. Like, just the level of dedication you show for your team members and former team members. Also, I think Leif blinked twice.
I think we'll have to check the instant replay on that one.
Yeah, you can go back and check the VOD. You'll have plenty of time, right, Meadow?
Yeah, I got to eat this whole pizza during the match, so I got lots of time, yeah.
Okay, sweet. So you got this covered. All right. Any last words, Leif?
No, shout-outs to the fans. Shout-outs to 07, I miss you guys, but definitely going to have to beat you tonight.
All right. Meadowhawk, your last words before I send you guys to the battlefield.
In the infamous words of Jay Smooth, Leif, you suck!
All right, and with that, gentlemen, we will see you on the battlefield.
Oh, I love that, man.
That was all about Leif, right?
Yeah.
Because he's from Chicago.
Yeah, that was, well, it was not that he was from Chicago. He was making a dig at him leaving, we could have done great things together if you'd stayed here and we had, built something, stayed on the same team, and Meadowhawk, showing his displeasure for Leif getting up and leaving.
That's actually a decent thought, because the thing is, 07's done just well enough that maybe if Leif had stayed around and 07 had, taken a few steps to improve by some grand margins, they might have actually, ended up a little bit better off than they
Wouldn't
they really
it be
were.
bittersweet if 07, managed to win in the online playoffs and they go to the finals and they play Eclipse first round and they beat Eclipse? Do you know how the guys from 07 would feel if that was all to happen?
That happens if they win tonight.
Tonight doesn't matter so much because if Eclipse win, then they get second place, so that'd be live final.
Yeah, but if Eclipse loses tonight.
But they'll play top tier because top tier has the tiebreaker now.
You're right. I forgot about that part. That depended on top tier.
But
winning.
if Eclipse make it to the final, assuming they take second place,
yeah,
and all of a sudden 07, beat that sixth place match, which they did last season.
Yeah, against Aquatic M60s.
Yep, and they make it to the offline regional finals.
We could have...
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say. That'd be amazing.
Because the thing is, this 07 Eclipse thing is going to be a rematch if we see in the playoffs. There's a reasonable chance we see them play here tonight, and very, very soon we're going to see it happen right over again.
Yep. Well, let's see if 07 can play Dream Crusher as we head into our first battle of the series.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
Rockstar for battle number 1, take a look at these lineups.
07, a 113, 3 Mouses, a Bat Chat, and 2 Type 4s. Eclipse, 3 Mouses, a Type 5, a Bat Chat AP, and a T95.
Not bad. All right, so plenty of hit points and armor from 07. A little bit of mobility in there. Arclet with that 113 is also slightly more mobile as well. And then on the side of Eclipse, we've got the T95, but we still have that mobility in the Bat Chat and the Bat Chat AP. So we're going to have to see how this one plays out. I think those Bat Chats and the AP should come into play in some significant margin, seeing as how slow the rest of the lineup is from both sides. If those tanks can play the flanks well enough, then we've got something. If not, well, we'll have to see when we get there. But opening up on this one, Dark God Zim takes a strong, aggressive run right down the 3 line where he tries to see, is anyone from 07 going to be going up the 8 line? Are they already attacking our 2 cap? No, doesn't look like it. Dark God Zim's going to be able to back off. And at the same time, in tandem with Dark God Zim's opening scout run, Tigers in the Bat Chat heads all the way to the south on the 1-2 line, slightly west, in order to spot the most southern approach. So early vision right there going to 07. They're able to, by process of elimination, tell what their opponent is most likely doing. And I like seeing that from Eclipse. So strong start from them. You don't see quite the same play, though, coming out from 07, do you, Rocks?
No, and if you look at it for a second, look at the split that they're running with right now. They have these 3 or 4 heavy tanks up on the hill, completely separated from the rest, and they're going to try to get this cap pressure going towards the 2 cap, and then hold on with these other tanks in the south and have coverage that way. And it may work out just because of this lineup that Eclipse are running right now with this extremely slow lineup. If they catch them in rotation like they're set up to do, this may work for 07.
Maybe. I'm wondering, because with the mouse down in the southeast hanging back, I see what you're going for. Now, these Type 4s, we saw something like the Type 4 use that we're seeing right now in the previous match, Rival versus Top Tier, where the Type 4s were able to fire over this little wall, just like you're seeing, into the corners over in, that's called Alpha 5. And there's just a little cubby that you'll often see someone hiding in. Now, if I go and check, no one from Eclipse is actually there. So the Type 4 blind fire isn't going to come into play. But it actually tells their opponent a little bit. Those 2 shells coming in is probably a huge tell. And I like this. Look at those bounces onto Major Issues, Commodore, and Anti-Pants. Nice echelon right there to get into position.
Those mouses so heavily armored, bounced those shots right off. Didn't even really have to angle them that well.
I do have to note, though, it did look deliberate, right? That was a very conscious move from 07.
Oh, to push them up against that wall, get in the blind spot there, yeah. Definitely. And they're getting in position to start the south cap, the 113 and mouse for 07 hanging in the south. Now these two batchets are going to come around here, and they may find the isolation onto Arclet.
Maybe, but that might not... I don't think that'll be a huge factor. They can probably leave Arclet behind even and get the cap that they're looking for, because now Commodore is about to get on, and there he is. He's on cap now. And the response from eClipse is going to be the slowest flank you've probably ever seen. And there's Commodore center screen right now. The approach is coming in from the south, and you can see the T95, T1 Diabetic is moving in with Leif. Now, the crossfire from the 113 is going to slow that down, but you see those Batchats way backfield? Dark God Zim? Tigers? Well, Makos is the only one taking them on, and just up the road, yes, there's a mouse, but he's a little occupied. So now Arclet needs to make a decision. Am I going to back off and help against these autoloaders, or am I just going to leave Makos to die alone?
And they found Makos in this Batchat, but he takes damage from all sides, and he gets evaporated. Now Arclet's going to push in here.
And this doesn't look good for 07. Losing your Batchat like that, that's a mobility win right there for eClipse. They're able to leave, take a little damage for their trouble, sure, but I'm not sure if that really matters. Dark God Zim's even going to be able to...
snap a few shots off as he runs away.
Yep.
But they're going to be able to outrun this 113 after they picked off that Batchat. And now this is going to leave 07 in a very awkward spot.
Yeah, but the Batchats can stay just close enough to be really, really annoying. And now there's the huge move. T95 moves around. Mouse and Type 5, they're going to be able to stop the cap. Support is not there for 07. There's nothing there to really help against the two heavy tanks and a tank destroyer from eClipse. And, well, because of that, I don't see this fight going very far for 07. It should go into the hands of eClipse. A little slow, but surely.
Well, and these Batchats having some really sloppy trades right now. Tiger's taking a couple shots he didn't need to, snapping some off, trying to hit that front drive wheel of Arclet, not getting the connection. T1 Diabetic getting caught on his side here from that mouse.
Yep. And, well, the Type 4s are finally getting into position I'm seeing right now. That's Fossa, it's Andy Pans. And, well, okay, we see the T95 from T1 go down. But I guess my question now is, will this really work out? Because Andy Pans decides to move out into the open and take a risk for it. Arclet's finally getting into position. The hit points aren't really there, though, for 07.
They're going to try to group up and take out these tanks before they can flex around. Leif takes a lot of damage, 1,400. Photo Finish picks up the kill onto Commodore, though. Mouse trying to simp here for Leif. Leif fires the HE shell into Arclet. Arclet's going to push around here. Gets the snap onto Leif. Doesn't take him down, though. A little bit of a low roll for 433. Major Issues going to come around the corner looking for the shot. Drock doing what he can to simp for Leif, but it's only going to be a matter of time. And Arclet actually gets reloaded and picks up the kill shot. And this is looking good for eClipse, but they're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah. This can go either way, very much so. And Major Issues I'm expecting to go down. Arclet maybe going down, but that depends on if we see a connection. Looks like Drock isn't going to go for it. Instead, Drock kills Major Issues. We've got Andy Pans in the Type 4 dead, and all of a sudden there are two tanks left alive, 407. This is eClipse's match now. And there we go. Arclet's down. Warbander's the one left. And he's going to get no neck. All right, strong play there. But this should only be a moment or two before it's GG.
Well, the Batchat AP is going to come in here and get in behind Warbander and get off the final damage.
Maybe, maybe not. I'm trying to see if maybe he's going to have one shell left, and it's going to be Photo Finish probably with the kill, or not. Some people are bouncing. Come on, guys.
It's just a mouse, guys. Come on.
There we go. All right, Eclipse. Eclipse is able to take battle number 1 decently well, but I think you saw what I saw. 07 was still in that match.
Yeah, there was a few opportunities for them to claw back into it.
Yeah.
Eclipse kind of got caught with their pants down doing that rotation a little bit early, I think. The Batchats in the south, I think, played that a little bit sloppier than they should have. They weren't quite as effective with their shots.
Yeah.
Tigers missed a couple that he probably should have just held on to and kept his HP instead of trying to go for the trade. 113 hold down versus a bad shot. That's just not an engagement you really want to take.
And also 07 left a giant hole where the T95, the Type 5, and the mouse came in the south. I felt like that was a glaring mistake. And this as well, where we saw Makos pinned alone. He didn't have a good position to retreat to, and the moment he decided to grab a cubby, it was probably the worst mistake he could make because of the fire coming in from the north. Because the guys from eClipse said, wow, Batchat's exposed. I've got these huge health pool, well-armored tanks. We could probably risk it to get the kill. Focus fire, take out a Batchat? Sure. Our 2 Batchats, AP and Tier 10, will be all the better for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eClipse took advantage of opportunity and exploited those much better than 07. 07 really didn't find great opportunities. I think what I did notice, though, was we talked about it, the way the mouse echeloned, and it didn't just drive in a straight line, but decided to angle.
Well, they pushed against the north corner there, which they knew was the blind spot for the A4 cubby, so deliberately taking a route where they knew they'd be exposed to the guns as little as possible. So It was just a well-thought-out, well-rehearsed strat from 07 getting in place, but the late game just wasn't there for him.
Yeah, and actually, we always groan at mouse, bouncing on mouse, but honestly, after the latest patch, the mouse is effective. You can angle it and actually force a bounce. There's times when it's RNG to see if you pen.
Yep.
But look at the damage, Rocks.
Yep. Even No Nick No Skill, 4,200. Drock, another 4,300. Warbander and Arclet, top performers, 407. Tigers on the second page there in that bat chat. And along with 2 Undiabetic, only got the 1 connection there onto Makos. Other than that, would have liked to see them be a little bit more effective.
Yeah, I think I can have a little bit of the same criticisms. A little just more effective with your shots, making some pens happen here and there, and then just seeing what you can do. I really thought T1 and the T95 was going to get a little bit more performance out of his tank destroyer.
Well, just because of how the other team played it, or how 7 played it, he was kind of stuck holding back a little bit. And the thing about the T95 is it's a really awkward tank. It only has the gun facing forward, so it's kind of hard to be effective in those narrow alleys.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but we're about to get into battle number 2 on Himmelsdorf. 07's going to be defending this time, Rocks. On attack will be eClipse. And, well, I think we can both agree this is a rather defensive-sided map, typically.
Yep, and looking at the lineups, 07, a 50B, an IS-7, a mouse Type 5, a JPE, an E3, and a 1390. Eclipse, a 50B, 2 mouses, a Type 5, an E4, a Batchat, and a 1390.
All right, we'll have to see what these opening moves can tell us. Faust is going to go for just about the same run. Nope, he's going to actually deviate and go for a classic D-line run. Scouting safely, just taking advantage of the tiny gaps in the defensive line of his own positions to get some early spotting. And, well, he doesn't find anything yet, but he's waiting. He's trying to see if anything is going to show up on the cross. And, well, surprise, surprise, he finds another 1390 Dark God waiting for him. And they are just now loaded in those 1390s. Fosta knew he could cross safely without risking taking fire from the 1390. And he's going to be able to back off into their own backfield behind the defensive lines. Take down that cover on cap, always a smart play. And we've got a decent spread from 07. West side, kind of a defense. As you can see, a tank destroyer from eClipse. T1's going to move up to the hill. I think that indicates that in the end, this strat intends to go for the number 2 cap, does it not? Or is that just we know the E4 is fast enough to get around behind our opponent?
I think a lot of it comes down to trying to catch them in rotation, trying to catch tanks floating around from that 2 cap. And so if you can poise this right, you can get attention onto that 1 line and then use that E4 or the Batchat in behind, open up shots along the B line and then flex in that way, or even just leave the E4 on the hill and let them shut down the courtyard. Because one of the responses when you take a hard 1 cap stance is the defending team will try to play heavily through that courtyard, and if you still have hill control, you can shut down a lot of the different lanes of approach that the defending team will take.
Yeah, and T1 getting into that high ground, looked for a few shells, but didn't find anything to connect onto quite yet. And he's actually going to hold back a little bit, trying not to give away his position. I don't think T1 was spotted either. So both teams still waiting around to see what intel happens. Major Issues is lit, though. So that's a good tell right there. Type 5 spotted in the southwest, photo finish. So 1-for-1 spotting, little intel back and forth. I don't think that'll make any major changes to the layout from eClipse yet. But we're going to go ahead and actually take a listen in with eClipse and see what's going through their minds, what's going through their comms in battle number 2.
Wait for me.
Okay. Have we done any damage or taken damage?
No.
No, nothing.
I mean, but look, we cannot kill 50V because they have like hell of a
Can we
guys
cross
covering. So we
like this? We can cross like that to kill IS-7 if we need to.
Like,
yeah,
they don't have a
line
bat shot,
in that
so I'm
class.
going to rotate back and watch the south as soon as we start setting this up. I'll hold just to wait for the 50B if we can.
Zim, do we want to try and send guys across to kill IS-7, or do you want to just go for camp?
I don't
Because
even
we
know.
can. I think.
Crossing to kill IS-7, they'll just move their mouse to right here and just
Yeah,
fuck
I
us.
think that we should just go for cap because I think if we cross, the mouse can move to here and get side shots. If we
They're
get
going to
one.
have to still move to us. Like, the E3 or whatever can't reset this, and we don't
Okay,
think
let
it
me
has
check
anything
banana.
there.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
I guess
just
the
send our
E3
heavies
could
up.
be... Oh, wow, okay.
Wow,
Okay.
okay.
Found him.
He's there. Just shoot crossing.
Yeah,
I'm-
can you get
still
shots? Can we farm?
Did
Can
he-
we,
did
we
he
need to
fire?
get some free shots on this.
No, he didn't fire.
He did?
He didn't.
No.
Did not.
50B shot one at me from tracks.
Let's see if we can get any
Patch,
sort
we
of
need
free
to go, I
damage here.
think, here and
Zim.
clear this.
There's,
Okay.
Yeah,
there's
Zim,
one
you
thing
can-
not lit.
Zim, can you
think
spot
we can-
E3 again?
What's on the
No,
he
Type
can't.
5?
He has to
Yeah,
it's
go.
just
the
a
only
Type
thing
I'll
that's
try to
not
check.
lit is the Type 5.
Well,
so,
we
yeah.
could even
Well-
send guys hill if we wanted to with their 2 TDs
They
here.
got
Well,
5.
We could come off hill if we need
We
to.
cannot, we just need to
Let's
push
do
banana
it.
first.
Yeah, we just gotta go.
Let's scare them.
I'm
Can,
crossing.
can
I'm
we
crossing
scare the
lit.
E3 off?
Okay,
or
I'm
no?
crossing.
I got lit. I didn't light it. It's a 1390.
I'll try to cross.
You're going to get Type 5
Just-
probably.
I
I
said,
got
you
lit.
see it,
Type
he
5
missed you.
shot. Type 5
Yeah,
shot.
Just
I
go.
cracked him.
Going across. That's
You
the
make the
90
play.
shooting once.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Type
yeah.
5.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's a 1390 just somewhere in here spotting.
I'm just
keep
going
that
to
in
move
mind.
off the hill.
Keep moving
Our
through.
foot's
The
peeking.
E3 is looking for another shot.
The mouse is looking for a shot.
Can we put
Why
frame
are we
caps?
stopping? Why are we
Yes,
stopping to
yes,
trade with
yes,
an E3?
yes.
Because
Keep going. It's not possible.
Let it get on cap.
Negative.
Coming.
Where's Type
coming
5?
up.
in spot on.
He's
I didn't
A4.
stop on purpose.
Or behind A4, like A3. He's aiming down the B-line lane. He shot at
get
B0.
on, get on caps.
I don't know where Steve Type 5.
Type
He's
5.
not.
Okay, I'll just
he's
be
not
fine.
close.
Okay.
Tigers, watch out.
There's
E3's
tanks
looking
here.
at you.
Okay.
E3 just
I'm getting on cap.
I know.
I'm
he's
gonna
free
go.
shot.
No, Nick, just watch
Okay, shot.
behind us.
Aiming here.
Watch out, Tigers. Let me
I know.
go.
Yeah,
All
JP is just aiming here.
Yeah, I'm on cap.
I'm gonna protect Leif.
right, just hold positions. Photo, try and hold that down. And
This is gonna get my shit pinned by the Type 4. I'm
Brock,
lit.
I want you to play against.
I already got reset by the
that
Type
play.
5. Type 5's in the window.
Okay.
North window. North window.
Okay.
They're gonna push this side. They're gonna push
Come
this
back
side.
uphill. Can you push this? Come back uphill. Come off.
Why?
Yeah, I'm coming
Forget
around.
about this night.
I'm moving around. I'm getting out of here.
They're gonna push this
You can
side.
help us win this. They're gonna push this off. We need our bat chat to be playing against this.
Zim, I'm gonna be angling south.
I might
block
get shot
you.
by JP.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Block. Block
Okay,
from
let's
south.
just make sure E4 gets a good shot in here. Okay, whenever they push up. We're
I
gonna
didn't
lose
get lit.
photo,
The
I think.
1390 is moved.
We
by
need a
the
better
way.
score.
Tigers, you
Yeah,
can't.
we already know
You
that.
can't go around. You're just getting a crossfire.
I'm aiming to D-line from hill, but
Tigers, you gotta back up, dude. They're just gonna push you.
Stop. I need to get a shot against this mouse. We didn't. We're fucked, dude. Just look for a shot on the E3 when it comes around the corner if you can. I'm tucking inside. I'll still try to tuck inside.
JP shot.
Yeah.
Critical hit the JP lower plate. 1390 shot
the
once.
mouse is aiming at me. But I mean, I can shoot like when he
They will
doesn't
just
look.
push behind me.
Yeah.
Can we push these guys and go cap? Fast.
I'll turn.
Drop and Tigers.
No,
24,
it's
can we
not. I'm not
Type
looking in the right
5?
direction.
Not like
I have like 3 guys on the D-line looking at me, not doing anything
There you
other
go.
than the Type 5. Kill Makos. The other 2
Good
aren't
shot.
looking at you.
Good shot. Can we cap?
but
E3 is
he
just
Cap
on us.
time?
7 seconds.
If someone
Yeah,
gets on
try
cap,
to
we can
cap.
cap.
I don't think they.
Oh, okay, they-
Oh no.
No,
I'll
we
just
can't make
flip
them.
things
Talking
around.
about them. We couldn't make
Just
that.
push north. Just push north.
Okay, and they're already on me, so
Okay, this is-
it's GG.
What happened with our picks on the A-line? Did we just get...
All right. And you heard it right there, right out of eClipse. They just called GG on it. And immediately after, you heard it, they started asking, what did we do wrong? What can we do better? What do we got to change going forward? And there, oh, look at that. Dark God Sim gets flipped on his side in 1390 by Andy Pans and completely and totally obliterated just by proximity to that tank. And, well, Leif is the last tank alive. The little bat chat that was on the hill for a little while did what he could. And now he's going to try to see what he can do to pen a Type 5. Sitting broadside, he gets full penned and goes down. And that's going to be a strong second battle for 07, bringing themselves into the series and actually putting one on the board in Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, well, I mean, Makos did work that game. It's a lot of damage he put up.
Oh, 5K in that T110 E3.
Farmed those super heavies from eClipse. Definitely put up some good numbers.
Yeah, something I've noticed the E3 performs exceptionally well against a Type 5, whereas something like a mouse actually can risk running into tricky situations. And then what I loved seeing also was this from Dark God Zim. This is what happens when you're in a super heavy tank. You just decide, I really don't want to deal with big tanks, well, with little tanks. So Andy Pans can simply just actually crush the 1390 from Dark God. And there he goes. I loved seeing that. That was heavy tanks galore. I'm pretty sure you enjoyed that as a heavy tanks player.
No, definitely. It's how you deal with a small light tank that's annoying you like that. Find yourself a nice wall or something sturdy, push them up against it.
Crush them.
Makos, 5,000 damage, 70 fantasy points. Andy Pans in that Type 5, 109 fantasy points. Got some base reset points there at the end. JPE of Commodore, another 3K, and it drops off pretty heavily after there. Most of eClipse not really able to get into that fight. Warbander also got some big reset points there and was able to do another 105 fantasy points himself.
So if you picked 07 today, you might be in luck as they seem to be able to put those points on the board when needed. We're actually going to now move on from Himmelsdorf into our next city map. I know you love it, Ruinberg, which should also typically goes 1-1. But with 07 and eClipse, one of the things that we're going to have to look at is their past performance and how they've been doing.
And if you want a series to go long, just look at this map pool. Himmelsdorf is, just went 1-1. Then we have Ruinberg, which is a 1-1 map typically. Then Muravanka, a 1-1 map typically. And then Prokharovka is our last map.
Yeah, and so with that, I mean, you're right. It kind of looks like one of those.
Could be a long series.
Yeah, and you know what? While we've got a bit of time during our what could be a long series, let's talk a little bit about our question of the day one more time. Don't forget, reach out to us on Twitter, just like Mystified M with the stock ARL, without a doubt being an ugly tank. See, that's a good choice. Solid choice, because low-tier French tanks tend to have some kind of affinity with ducks, I've noticed. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, well, and that one's just a barn. That's very similar to the 4005, just a huge turret on a weird-looking tank.
Yeah, just awkward-looking little tanks there.
The bathtub, the S35CA, little French tank destroyer, commonly known as the bathtub.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's thrown the toaster out there yet. That's also a good one.
I know it's one you don't like a whole lot.
I just think it looks silly. And then there's also some low-tier artillery.
The Object 416, the pancake.
Scrang, he's a common contributor. He's always around, so shout out to Scrang. Thank you for always reaching out to us on Twitter. And then the mouse from, I can understand actually
Definitely not a pretty tank.
It's certainly not. It's just a giant, well-armored house.
Literally a two-story house.
Figuratively. Or
literally.
Not literally. It's not actually a two-story house.
It could be.
You could make it into a house, like in the same way that people have made, missile silos into cool apartments. You could make the mouse.
Well, as you like to say, if you watch the inside the chieftain's hatch on the mouse,
have you seen?
There's enough room for activities inside that thing.
Yeah, there's tons of room for activities. But have you seen the actual video of the that chieftain put out of the inside?
No, he can stand up in it and do jumping jacks. That's the problem.
The thing is, he showed us how big it was inside, but it just has there's so much work that needs to go into it.
Well, let's see if the teams can do enough work on our next map as we're ready to go.
Ruinberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the centre square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village when playing a heavy setup. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
And here we go into battle number 3. 07, 2 113s, 2 mouses, a bat chat, and the 2 Type 4s. Eclipse, 3 mouses, a Type 5, a Batchat, a JPE E100, and an AMX 1390.
I guess I understand with the Yagi 100, but it seems a bit slow to bring on a North Strat. Maybe it's a little easily outflanked.
Has the giant gun, though. If they can catch those tanks peeking to get the resets, he can punish them, especially if it's a couple of these Type 4s. So I think it's a plenty effective choice.
Quite possibly. T1 actually getting spotted crossing in the north over in Delta 1. Not quite quick enough to keep himself safe from being discovered. And look at that early dive in from Arclet. Look at him go. He's all the way up in the mid-road. This is really fast, actually. I'm not wanting to criticize it, but I want to just say this can work out really well for Arclet, or it might just not. It's going to put pressure on Eclipse because they know that 07 has a feeling they're going for the North Cap, right? They have an indication. Putting Arclet there puts him ever closer to successfully flanking.
No Nick, no skill. Because of Arclet's position, he might get spotted on this cross right now, even though he's taking the red line.
No, he's going to stay safe, I think. He's not spotted so far. Arclet feels like it seems like he knows that something's probably going on, but isn't quite confident. At the same time, though, you're going to see that push up into the north onto the cap, and that's 3 mouses getting into position without too much resistance. Leif taking some. He's about half health now. But Tigers and Drock are still relatively healthy. And Leif is probably going to turn himself sideways best he can, take cover, and they're going to box Dark God Zim. There we go. Dark God Zim is now safe and sound behind his wall of mouse. And we're going to see if anybody, especially these Type 4s, can splash some HE and get a reset. And Leif is likely going down fairly soon.
Yeah, but I like this out of Eclipse just in terms of the positioning. They're actually giving Dark God Zim plenty of room, so he's not close enough to be splashed by those Type 4s. So unless Dark God Zim moves into the wrong pocket at the wrong time, he actually, I don't think, can be splashed too easily from the locations they're at.
If a shell lands above him on the wall,
well, that's my point. That's my point. Is look at the angles. I think it'll be too far away for that to even be an option.
We'll have to see, because with 15 seconds left, well, Eclipse is about to succeed with their fast cap, and it looks like Arclet's going to decide enough is enough. We have to get in here.
Well, they need to reset Drock or Dark God Zim, and now No Nick No Skill's even going to join in the action. Try to go for some track shots.
You got to get
4
the track
seconds
shots.
on cap.
Get the track shots.
They need to find a shot. They get one onto Tigers. They find another onto Drock. Dark God Zim has the cap points.
Oh, and shifting of positions. It's going to be a huge reset. 30 seconds on the clock. And Dark God Zim finally gets reset as Tigers and Drock give ground, actually, and decide, you know what? Let's just give up on that cap. But they are going to get a kill. Commodore going to go down. Tigers is in exchange. But Makos is getting messed up for 654. Let's see what 07, what Eclipse can accomplish here.
It's going back and forth. T1 Diabetic put a shot into Makos. Follow-up shot came from one of the mouses, and now this is looking decent for Eclipse, but HP still in favor of 07. Yeah. Major Issues is committed here to the point of no return. He's going to go around, try to find the shot onto T1 Diabetic. Arclet's going to bounce the shot off of Drock, and finally T1 Diabetic goes down, but not before putting 1,000 more HP in, or taking 1,000 more HP from Major Issues. So now the Type 4 puts another 686 into him, and this is looking good for Eclipse.
Yeah, this is not bad at all. This is something that was rough to start, but the team play, the response, the focus fire was just good enough. But nice shot by Fossa taking out Drock. Photo's going to be able to reply, and Photo's sitting at solid hit points, 2,369 still, as Dark God's going to start putting out the damage as well.
Yep, and No Nick No Skill gets the kill onto Arclet.
Yeah, he sneaks one in there. And now Photo Finish is going to be able to just lead the way. He could 1v1 Rocks at this point. But will he need to? Probably not.
Photo puts the snap 492. And that's just going to be Rocks on 121 HP left.
I like that.
And Cap is going to actually go out for Eclipse, and that's going to make it 2-1. An offensive victory on Ruinberg for Eclipse. Yeah, not bad.
We do not see that very often at all. How many, do we even see all that many offensive wins at all in Ruinberg? I think we've seen a handful. Most of the time, that strategy flops hard. Usually what ends up happening is the teams don't quite have the coordination to understand what exactly is the most appropriate course of action when you get rushed. That's when your opponent's saying, all right, let's leave our defensive positions and move out. Rox is looking up the stats right now. But this is something I had to appreciate about Eclipse. They moved Dark God in very early on. Led the way. And they kept two mouse back and didn't overexpose them. They didn't let Drak and Tigers take damage unnecessarily. They let that focus onto Leif and then just let him go down.
Yep, and looking at it, 44 games played on Ruinberg, 17 have gone to the attackers, so only a 38% win rate for the attacking side. It's the second highest defensive win rate in the league next to Muravanka, which is our next map.
Yeah, and then your wins by cap are still pretty low as well, because with Ruinberg,
five of the games are cap.
5 games are cap.
12 the kills.
That's all season.
Yeah, and only one defensive win has been by time this whole season on map. All the other 26 have all been to kills. And looking at it, Fossa in that Type 4 able to get 106 fantasy points, but T1 Diabetic, another 4K almost, out of that JPE, really made that thing work. And then Photo Finish also got another 3,500, another 80 fantasy points. Rocks did decent at Tier 9. Tigers, 3,300. Not bad there from most of eClipse.
Yeah, and I got to give a little credit to 07 for their defense. I really did feel like they chose one of the most appropriate defenses. I feel like the way they laid out their tanks once they decided that it was time to leave cover and get out in the open was one of the better, not successful this time, but better than I would have expected as far as a defense, especially with eClipse's response. eClipse handled themselves well. And when 07 just saw that, they could have fallen apart, right? They could have kept trying to focus fire and just gone down one by one. But they made themselves as annoying as possible, especially against T1. Yeah. Mouse versus Yagi 100, just distracting enough to kind of keep him ineffective, focusing fire on other tanks. And
yeah,
it worked
absolutely.
out.
And the JPE, he came in late there, and he was just simply there to hold a lane, and he was able to pump out shot after shot and stay alive for a good portion of that battle. So definitely made that JP work with the way they set up that strat.
Yeah, I got to agree. That was a solid play. Now we're going to go into Ruinberg for a second time, flip it around, see what 07 is going to be able to do with their chance to attack. And Rox, take a look at these lineups and tell me what you think.
07, 2-1-13s, a Type 5, 3 Batchets, and an AMX 1390. Very mobile lineup there out of 07. Only the Type 5 is the super heavy. Meanwhile, eClipse, a 113, a 50B, a 215B, 2 Mouses, a Tier 9 Batchat, and a T95.
T1 really enjoys that T95.
Yeah, well, him and Wallhawks both, apparently.
Yeah. And then also I like Tigers in the FE215B. Good damage output.
Yeah, I wish that was a tank we saw more often. We saw it a lot when the league first moved to Tier 10 3 seasons ago. It's kind of become a dying fade more recently, especially with the buffs they gave the 113 a year ago.
Yeah. It's usually known for its ability to just pump out damage, consistent fire. They work well in groups if you know how to play them correctly. But yeah, the armor's not really there. Not as much as it could be.
Low-ish alpha, only 400, but it has extremely high DPM, and it's a laser-accurate gun. It's literally one of the tanks that you can do right-click, left-click. You right-click for auto-aim at pretty much any range. You fire left, shell velocity and accuracy does the rest, and you can pump out a lot of damage.
Yep. And that's what I like seeing. Those are the kind of things where a highly coordinated team can make it work. But look at it another way, and it can be a strong complement, a good choice of a tank to fit in with the rest of what you have.
Photo Finish getting really aggressive towards the south. Going to do pretty much the same thing we saw Arclit do last game, get into this 5 line. And overall, they're all just sitting here in the low ground.
Just waiting.
Just waiting, maybe for a trap to be sprung.
It does look kind of like an ambush. If your attack is going well, it's an ambush. If it's not, well, you're in the ambush. I think that's Murphy's Law. Talked about that the other day.
Murphy's Law of combat?
Yeah. It's a long list of everything that can go wrong and why. Everyone knows it. But talk about that later. I like this distraction play from 07. You see that? Up in the north, we've got a cap starting. And I don't think eClipse has any idea that the tanks are down in the south. They have zero indication. They only see major issues on the
Nice
cap.
little bait and switch, hoping that major issues is enough of a distraction. And they're going to push in bulk here.
The jig is up, though, and everything is spotted. Andy Pans, Megas,
but
all
these
those tanks are
Batcats
lit.
have the speed they need to take advantage of this. They've made eClipse leave their positions, get out of position, and now these Batchats should be able to get into this village and maybe take advantage of it.
They just need to screen the cap. That's Andy Pans doing exactly what's needed. Get ahead of the cap, make it so the tanks that are left behind are able to worry about cap, The rest of your tanks can worry about damaging things that try to bypass in order to defend the cap point. However, look at Photo Finish's position. This is the most annoying position where Photo finishes. And in that mid-road, he's going to be difficult to dig out. He's going to be able to reset cap here and there, while everyone else worries about the high ground.
Yep, and he's going to pump out another shot into Arclet. Foss is even going to join them on cap. Batchats are going to hold on here. And this is the other thing to look at, though, is this misplay up in the up on the 0 line. It's going to be a bunch of Batchats scoring off versus a bunch of Mouses and a 215B. So this is not going to be something that's going to go well for him.
Yeah, especially because the 215B has ammo that counters the Batchats perfectly.
If he decides to load those Hesh shells, and damage is going to go back and forth, but at this point, 07 are down half the HP that Eclipse brought in total, so I don't see this going very well for them. Trying to pump out what damage they can, but
they just lost all their mobility. They just threw all of their mobility against buildings, and they were hoping a screen would work out, but you can tell because of Photo Finish's position, he's able to get the resets that are crucial, and it just happens from there. Had Photo Finish not been where he is, the Batchats may have been able to hold off the assault long enough for Cap to finish. But that's not how it's going to go. Rocks, Arclet, both 113s are down. Now it's just Makos and Fosta. Fosta's down south, just getting torn apart. He goes down. Makos is last. Tries to put up a solid fight against Tigers, his, well, a Batchat's worst enemy. You can see it right there. He goes down.
No Nick that actually picks up the kill onto Makos, making it 3-1 in favor of Eclipse.
And this is going just about along the lines of expected, but 07's putting up a decent fight. I think that last strategy, and tell me what you think, did successfully catch Eclipse off guard. It did manage to throw them off.
I think it was triggered just a little bit too soon. And the thing is about that strat is it's completely blind.
Yeah.
It just relies on timing and just pure gut calling, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing in some cases. But the problem was it didn't pull off here. If you notice, look at the positioning of the tanks. They had left the village, but they were still kind of in that middle ground. They hadn't completely gotten away. And so there was plenty of time for them to get back, drive these Mouses into the village, and come bully these Batchats out of position.
Yeah, the only thing 07 was able to get with that sneak attack was the ability to cross the open ground without paying a toll.
Yep.
They avoided paying the toll. That's fine. But you mentioned it with hit points and with armor. There's not really enough there for 07.
Well, and just look at how this engagement takes place right now. It's a bunch of Mouses point blank against a couple of Batchats. This engagement's never going to go in favor of the Batchats, no matter who's in them.
Yeah, and the thing is they can't use their mobility because once they're reloading, they can't leave.
And at this sort of range, the Batchat armor is not going to do the magical stuff that we see it so often do when it's driving away.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen this time. Eclipse is ready with the response. 07, strong play, could have worked, but pulled the trigger a little too soon. I think that's a correct assessment you make. That because it was just a little sooner than it could have been.
If they had been able to get in there and really cause some damage on those tanks coming back or gotten that cap pressure or dumped onto Photo, they may have made it work. But outside of getting a free pass to that village, there was really no advantage that they gained from being there because they pushed in a little bit too early. And looking at the score here, look at all these reset points that Photo Finish got, doing 111 fantasy points, as well as being the top damage dealer for his team. And you should note this was also an ace for Eclipse, not losing a single tank this game.
Ah, that's a good note. It's definitely a good note. Because if that's an ace, that's demoralizing. You look up on the scoreboard as 07 right now, and you look that attack just did not work, unless what we didn't hear on comms was Fosta saying, I pulled the trigger too soon. I'm sorry, guys. That was totally on me. Just don't worry about it. We're going to fix this, and we're going to move forward. That's the way I see 07 maybe having a chance. But now that we're going to Muravanka, a map which is pretty much 50-50 at this point, it's just getting that little bit closer for Eclipse.
Yep. Well, let's see if Eclipse can hold on to their lead as we head into our next battle of the series.
Muravanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
Here we go into battle number 5. 07, 2 Mouses, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and an M4043. Meanwhile, Eclipse, 215B, a Type 5, 3 Batchats, an Object 430, and a AMX 1390.
And on the opening runs. We've got a little scouting all across the board. Dark God looks like he's going to try and find his passive position. While we see... Yep, there's Dark God going for the opening scout run. Looks like he's going to find Andy Pans. Nice tell right there. Gives a lot of info away to Eclipse that they can work with. Also spotting Fosta. Going to see maybe if some support fire comes in. There it is, 348 into Fosta. Nice. Any lead you can get, right?
Exactly. You can start chipping away, especially in a 1390. It only takes another shot or two for him to lose some HP. He's actually up in a betcha.
And I think we're going to take a listen in now with 07 on attack, see what's going through their minds as they try to take on the defense of Eclipse.
James, you have to move and do something because they have the info. They're gonna make move now.
Let's get the mice. Let's get the mice in underneath. Yeah, let's rotate back basically.
Which bat's going on?
I'm gonna remain back here in a bush. Everyone else, we're gonna rotate back.
You want me underneath like F3?
Yeah. So like we can get one bat out wide on the C line. The TVP stays up here with the mouse.
You guys will go out wide.
I'm gonna go past it in a bush in the back here. Let's get this mouse underneath the ridge.
They might have something like F1, E1.
The other bat that's not going D line, one line is gonna like sort of push in, joining round. Okay, so yeah, one bat's going to cap, one's going here. The TVP stays back here. Capping. All right, I'm spotting out the backside here.
Yeah, I might be.
We have rocks in the camp.
Rocks is taking damage.
430 from way out wide. Okay. Maybe not quite that far, but yeah, almost. So I can't push up totally under them.
Before you get on cap, can you try to peek over the hill?
Yeah. Can we
press
with our bat, basically?
Major, what hit you?
215B right there. Sorry, I was just about to say.
Spotted.
215B down south.
Okay, Rocks, I want you to angle to cover the bat. Don't sit on cap, though. Angle to cover the bat from here. I think you can do that, actually. So just put yourself between the thin angle from out here and the reset on Andy.
Yeah.
All right?
Am I not covering you yet?
Guys, hold down to me.
They shouldn't be able to penny Rocks, basically.
Okay,
cool. So you don't get pinned. You can back
you don't want to get fucking penned, Rocks, okay?
No, I mean, do I still have enough coverage on you there?
Rocks, listen to me. Put your ass up against the hill. Your ass should be up. So turn 90 degrees to the left.
Type 5 is
here.
here. Major's taking damage from the Type 5.
Type 5 is over. He's coming over.
He's moving. He's moving in.
I have to move. The Type 5 is coming.
Can you destroy the house in front of... Oh.
I'm lit.
V is coming over.
I'm switching to 215.
They have a bat all the way in the city. I have 2 bats in the city. I'm tracked. I'm gonna die.
2 bats in... Oh.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, we're flanked.
We should have spotted this. We had nothing.
I mean, they didn't go deep enough.
Can we just kill the one-line stuff?
Yeah, we have to kill one line, basically.
FB's gonna kill me.
I'm gonna flex in. We have to look for draw, basically, and then the Type 5. It's pretty much the only play. Arclet will get pushed by something and die.
Mm-hmm.
Nikos, are you clipped?
I have 4.
Okay, we gotta push underneath onto the 215, basically. Makos, you and I will push out the one line onto the photo.
Fucking
they shoot or save all 4?
Makos, no, save 4. We're pushing now. Can we push now? Can Rocks sort of engage with Andy? Andy, are you
Rocks is getting punished.
Well, I can't push up.
Can you push around low then and look for photo with us?
Yeah.
No, Rocks, just look at. He has
Makos got tracked.
Shooting him on the side.
Getting rocked by it.
Yeah, then you get penned. Yeah.
I can't just face backwards the whole match.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of options. The game's kind of over. I don't. Fuck. You just have to push, basically. That's it. I mean, we can look for the type.
All right, I think we heard enough right there from 07. They've kind of realized it just as we have that this one's not going much farther. When we saw Warbender get taken out by the flank from Eclipse, out of nowhere he's just gone. Yep. He's only able to inform his team that he's being currently focused down. That's the extent to which he was able to do anything in the situation he was given. And then after that, Makos getting pulled out, I just gotta say, Eclipse was able to deflect every bit of aggression. They knew how to deal with everything. And 07 didn't have the tools that Eclipse had. and with I think that was a bit one-sided of a win, I'd say. 07 tried, didn't happen. Already connected a few times. You can see the damage there in the post-game rocks. What was it? 7-12.
Just that one connection on the 215B, missed the others.
Yeah,
So I think he got off in total. He fired 5 shots, only got the one connection.
Yeah, that's not the most ideal scenario for your Artie. He needed to get a few more connections, loosen things up, then follow up with a push from 07. The connections didn't happen from Artie. A little bit of that's RNG. I'll give it there. Like, you can't just expect an M40-43, but also it didn't feel like 07 was as focused on winning and in the right state of mind.
Once the TVP went down, it was kind of a tilt moment where they're like, oh, well, that was a blind spot that we didn't see, and now what? Because it was really relying upon that TVP holding that outside angle and maybe it worked, holding it outside lanes so they can keep those mouses on cap and not get reset as easily.
Yeah, and it's just doubt. That's what happens. The moment that happens, you're sitting there, there's a bunch of unknowns. All of a sudden, what you thought may have been a solidified situation where you knew you were going to spot certain tanks, it's not happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, plans out the window.
Yep, and it took a while to get Rox in position to block for that cap. They were trying to get him turned around.
I don't think they trained Rox on what exactly he was expected to do.
Well,
there.
I'm not sure that he was expecting to play today, I think, because he's stepping in for who's normally in there for him. He's not a normal starter though, so
no, he's not.
I'd have to double check on that one.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But you're right. Rox doesn't make a lot of plays. He's usually not on the field, so that makes sense. He did what he could, but not this time. Draw cab in the FV, 3,200 hit points of damage, 127
Seems
points.
to be Swipple so far this season since starting over him.
How could I forget? How could he slip my mind? I wonder where Swipple is today. And looking at it, aside from Dark God Zim, everyone in eClipse found their way onto the first page, so that's enough right there. And it's going to be eClipse sitting on 4 points. This is match point. A win waiting to happen as we move on to...
However, as we touched on earlier, this is Muravanka. This is one of the most one-sided maps we have in the league right now. So Eclipse are going to have their work cut out for them to get a win on offense right now.
Yeah, if they find a way of making that happen, sure, great. Maybe a little east side, try and get the cap fast. We often don't see that succeed.
Question of the day, answer right there, the toaster. So one you already talked about earlier, definitely up there. It's the inside that counts.
That's right, Fulcrus. That's what it's about. That's why we ask these questions, people, is because we really want to get at the heart of the issue. A tank isn't ugly. A tank is beautiful on the inside. It all depends on the interior design and the situation with the chairs. Are they folding? Are they static? What's the whole deal? Is it comfy? Do you have enough headroom?
Well,
leg room.
In the most recent Chieftain's hatch on one of the new Swedish tanks, they actually gave up seats altogether and just used strap/hammocks inside the tanks just to stay comfortable.
See, these are all factors. But was that comfortable? Was that serviceable?
You'd have to ask someone that actually sat in one.
Exactly, but there's so many different things. Not every tank is the same on the inside. Something that you don't learn until, well, you get to have a peek at the inside.
Yep, and looking at the lineups here, a Mouse, two 113s, 3 Batchets, and an RU-251 coming out of 07. Eclipse, a Mouse, a 113, an E4, 3 Batchets, and an M40-43.
Yeah, and that M40-43 from Dark God Sim. Excuse me, I alt-tabbed out of my game. We're going to move on from that, though, because here we go. We're looking at Dark God Sim and that Artie. And he is looking middle of the map, where currently no tanks from 07 are. And it's going to get really slow, actually, Rox. You know what? I want to know what Eclipse is thinking, because they've decided to take it nice and slow. There's got to be something going on. Or they're just having a party on comms. Whichever way it is, let's go ahead and take a listen in with Eclipse.
It's the passive bush back here or something. Or it was just the RU doing a loop. Like, it's hard to say.
It might be just F2.
Yeah, it could be either.
Right,
if it was F2, I think it would have lit me, though, T1. I was pretty high.
Sure,
go.
Wait. We need to protect mouse right now.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for T1 to move.
We need T4 move
we need to
here,
get ready for
here.
and after the 113 will move underneath.
T1, you can start moving.
We can leave one 113 and one batchet here, and others just cover mouse. If
Okay.
they will push.
Alright,
Or
well,
you
we
want
can do that.
or you want all batches here.
You want me to commit all the
no.
way across into
We need to
standard
keep
cap
people
plays,
lighting.
right?
I'll keep lighting.
Yeah,
this.
of course.
Yeah, okay.
I'll
Later
stay and
on.
keep lighting.
Just be careful
Yeah,
if they
but we
light.
need
If they
batches.
light the other bat over here, they're just probably going
They'll
to
push these.
Forest, so.
But he can run, but
I think the biggest
problem is they will
vulnerability here
push
is
here.
them. They can push here easy.
As long as they can't
though.
catch east, it's not the worst.
All right, Mouse.
It's fine. We're just the guy.
8 minutes.
I'm waiting for E4 because you want the E4 to be set up.
I think our bats
And already
need
game.
our bats need to stay in the city.
I don't think we need the bats.
Okay,
really.
okay,
We're
okay.
gonna do
Now
it.
you
Bats play this. Bats
But what if they push mouse?
If they come in like
push
this,
mouse,
then
bats come
the
back in with
guys
their
are already
clips.
in the city.
Okay,
They're already in the city.
just do it. All
Yeah.
batches here, all batches.
Let me know when you're aimed, G1 and Zim, and I'll move.
Bats will
Let
continue
me-
to
that
play
side
this in
just
this.
run.
Aim G1 maybe, or just F2. I'm going now.
I'm not
I will
playing
light in a
normally.
second. I see nothing. There you go.
We're good. You can play this part of the cap too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave this spot. I'm gonna go middle. I'm leaving my spot.
All right.
I'm leaving my spot.
That's one bat shot lit.
Wait, why are you leaving your spot photo?
Because
No, you
most
can stay.
uncap there.
No, we need
just
you.
lit in middle.
We need you to be able to engage against stuff in the city with us. Okay,
Okay,
that's
alright,
you're like our
alright.
ace in the hole.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you're in the city. Well,
You're gonna be able to bully
I'll
stuff in your
stay.
113. No, you're okay. And if
No,
they
because
push,
they have 2 130.
I'm just gonna be ready for them to push over
I know.
3 line. I think that's what they're gonna do. To be
Alright,
honest.
Yeah,
fine,
that's-
fine.
that's exactly
Then
what I
we'll-
think they're gonna
we'll
do,
fuck
that's
them
why.
like this, all right? It's perfect.
Are you?
Are you pushing up?
Are you?
Okay.
I don't see a tank in G1.
no,
Tigers run.
Tigers run.
I know. I'm just getting a free shot. Okay, I'm out. I'm out.
No,
Free
free
shot.
shots.
Free.
Oh my God, they're all. That's okay. That's okay. I'll bait them. I'm going back to A7.
Easy free shot. A will now.
I'm staying here
run.
in church.
I'm running.
Would you say you were making plays, Tigers?
Making
All
folks.
right, I'm moving up one line.
They're
I got
gonna
lit.
just push
I
us.
got lit.
Guys,
I'm getting up in the
we
city.
really need to worry about these bats.
I'm 13. I'm not aiming on him. Can he decap
He did
from
not
or
light
not?
me.
He
They have a
can't
one.
get the most. He has to drive all the way over.
Mouse bounced me.
I'll try to shoot mouse if he'll come.
I'm worried about
Are you
Nona.
okay, guys?
Watch struck.
Mouse
I'm having trouble.
113 in middle.
Nice.
It's like fences. I
113's
can't
committing.
really engage.
Bender.
Arc lit.
He missed. He
Yeah,
fired
we're
Ichi, he
banter
missed.
one more batch.
I'm being
Oh,
reset by
You
113.
got
The other
it.
bat's
Reset.
not gonna come to me.
Trying to shoot me.
That's okay.
It's like a fence. I literally can't reset there. I can't shoot arc lit.
Okay.
Don't.
I hit mouse. I hit mouse.
I got one shot onto
No,
Andy
next
for you
to
2-1,
line.
but I
Photos
can
can
engage.
engage. You guys gotta kill that 113, all right?
I can't kill the
Watch that behind
113.
you.
I just
Bad
clipped into him.
Bad behind me.
Photo.
I know, yeah.
Photo. I just clipped into
I
him.
missed,
So I
I'm
don't have any shots.
Guys, we gotta kill this 113. Okay.
Yeah, kill because
Nonix, stay
we're
alive.
here.
Nonix, stay alive.
Yeah,
Other bad shot is
I'm
I'm clipping.
shot all my shots and go clip.
Yo,
Okay,
I'm being
done.
surrounded and killed here, so I'm gonna just.
I'm gonna help. I'll help photo
Try
when
to
loaded.
shoot rocks at least.
Okay. I'll keep running.
Mako's shooting me.
I can't deal with Andy.
Oh, I'm getting shot by the mouse too. I'm getting shot by the mouse.
Okay.
Like here.
I'm being
Nice, good lights on the bat.
Oh, well, I
basically.
I'm gonna die.
Sorry, I missed.
This packet loss is retarded too.
All right, and it looks like T1 complains of packet loss, but 07 says, try again next time. As they're going to be able to put their second point on the board in just a moment. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the battle. And 6 tanks for 07 versus the 2 left alive from Eclipse. So, I think Eclipse sounded just about as disoriented as 07 was on their previous attack. Wouldn't you say, Rox?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. You know, Tiger's trying to make plays, but bleeding way too much HP in the process. You know, I just didn't see anything out of Eclipse there. You can kind of see what they're going for, but they were just spread way too thin. It's kind of really hard to block both the east and the west while screening that cap. You have to pick one or the other, really, and make it work. And because they spread so thin, they didn't really leave themselves any way into that fight. As far as, you know, I could tell from that side. It was just they got spread too thin. The resets came in. They weren't able to group up, and it was 07 that made the better trades throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that one. It's also, like you mentioned, very difficult to just have a successful attack on Muravanka. It's difficult. You're not probably going to succeed. Just like we talked about with Ruinberg and in the past Himmelsdorf, a lot of maps are generally defensive-sided. Some more than others. Also very dependent on the meta. So, yeah, it makes sense that 07 is able to pick this one up. Not a huge surprise. It kind of seemed based on momentum that maybe Eclipse could do it. But now that we've got another battle, it's going to move on to Prok, where Well, to start it off, it's going to be attacking 07. 07's going to attack to start this one off, Rox. What do you think that goes? Is this going to be final battle?
It should be. This is one of eClipse's best maps. They've always been pretty decent on Prokharovka. They started off in their first match in first season in the Gold League. They struggled on it early, and then the last couple of seasons since, they've been very strong on it. Had some great games on it, including against Apex in last season's finals. In 07, well, they've had some more creative ideas on it recently, especially with the E50s and whatnot. I still see eClipse being able to edge this one out right now, making it a 5-2 series.
And look at this. A timeout is going to be called by 07. So they're going to get an extra minute to discuss their lineup, their strategy going into Prokharovka. I think 07 might feel like they're about to come back into this one with that win. So 07, if they can take 2 wins on Prokharovka coming up, they can go to a tiebreaker on Ghost Town and actually crush eClipse's dreams.
And look at all these points from Arclit. 2,700 damage, 1 kill, 143 fantasy points.
You know, I watched Photo Finish. I watched a bunch of bat chats try to take on Arclit, and he was being a tricky little guy. He was being tricky, and he managed to mitigate quite a bit of damage. I'll even try and take a look at the details in the post-battle because, my goodness, it was 3,580 damage Arclit mitigated with his armor.
Yep, out of 13 shots hit and 8 non-pens, so not bad there.
Yeah.
Played that 113 very well, which against those bat chats, that sort of range is, props off to him.
Yeah, and I noted this. Bat chats were trying to engage, and you know all those little fence posts and everything that are going on in the city? Mm-hmm. Those were actually throwing off, who was that? I'm going to take a quick check, and I think it was... Who was that?
Well, it would have been only the tanks that fired the heat shells, though.
It would have been Drawcap. He didn't manage, I think, to get any damage in on him, and no damage that round, because he fired 4 shells, and that was it. And
did he have a heat clip loaded?
That's probably what it was, because the way he was firing at the 113, I play a lot of bat chat. I'm used to my APCR shells penning a 113 the places he was firing. He might have been firing heat. He also could have, because he was firing possibly through some of those fence posts, you lose penetration.
Yeah, but normally out of APCR at that range, it wouldn't be enough to make it so the shots don't pen, though.
But enough for maybe a 113 well-sloped, because Arclit, by the way, you know how he is. He's good at his heavy tanks. Yeah. He knows an angle. So it's an angle that, maybe you should pen if it was just APCR. But APCR, after going through a fence post, maybe that's enough to kind of set yourself just above that threshold to start bouncing.
Fair. Certainly fair.
Yeah.
So definitely something to keep an eye on there. However, we're going to go on to our next map. And as you already said, it's going to be eClipse attacking, first off.
Sorry. I should have said 07. 07
attacking.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
what do 07 have to do to break this defense from eClipse this game? What do they have to do that they haven't been doing to make this work?
Well, the thing about it is their Prokharovka record, if I might be able to steal your notes for a moment, sir, the Proc record is not horrible, but it does need some work. Yep. On Proc, they've got about 54% attacking and then about 37 defending. Right. So they actually are attacking side at 07.
All right, we'll have to see if they can make it work on this attack as we head into our next map of the series.
Prokharovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway, so the defending team has to choose whether to send their vehicles to the left side, playing them in the centre, or to the right of the railway, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base. However, the teams often go for face-to-face confrontations, 7-on-7, in the hilly terrain at the centre. That's why both teams frequently use vehicles with good gun depression angles and sturdy turrets.
Here we go. Into battle number 7, 07 coming in with an IS-7, 4 bat chats, an STRV 103B, and an M4043. Meanwhile, eClipse, an IS-7, a Mouse, Type 5, 2 bat chats, an STRV 103B, and a Lorraine 155.
I can get on board with the Type 5, actually. Type 5, as opposed to like a Mouse, makes some sense just because of the way that it can just reach out and touch something.
Well, and those HE shells, especially if they're shooting at bat chats or hold down tanks, should be pretty effective because the HE doesn't need to it doesn't have to penetrate to do a lot of damage. So say he fires at Rox, who's playing that I-7 hold down, he can still do 500-600 damage to him.
Now there's another note, and I've been playing a little bit of Type 5 lately, and what I've noticed is on Prokharovka in particular, Type 5 can go towards the middle of the map, and you can try to start sniping. The problem you have is that range to, the hill in the southeast and also in the far southwest, the typical camping positions. Firing from the middle of the map to those positions is actually just tricky enough that most of the time there was nothing more I could probably do to make my shells count. So I guess the point is, if you see a Type 5 on an open map like this, yes, the HE shells and the ability to just lob them out there seems great. What you need to pay attention to, though, is you're not accurate enough to just place shells all over the map like an artillery piece. You're going to miss a lot of shells at range, 500 plus meters, just because of your shell dispersion.
Yep. Makes sense. And no Nick making a scout run here in this bat chat, trying to spot over towards this 2-cap. Not going to find anything. And now one of the bat chats for eClipse. It's going to be Tigers. It's going to push out in front. Try to get some eyes.
Little shell comes in 564 from Dark God Zim and Lorraine. And this is kind of what happens early on. Artie comes out, 635, right into photo finish. And we're going to see this back and forth for a minute. And back in my day, we used to do this with scouts, where they'd have to drive fast and try to avoid Artie. Now we just throw heavy tanks up there and make it an easy target for Arclit and Dark God Zim to just farm those fantasy points. The real challenge for eClipse will be keeping their Type 5 alive a little longer than 07 can keep their IS-7 alive in the middle. If that happens, well, then eClipse wins. If 07 can win by taking out photo finish, Artie alone probably, then maybe 07 finds a way in. But if they lose their IS-7 here, Rocks, early on to artillery, I don't see 07 finding a real way into the battle. And there we go.
Arclit looking for a shot, possibly an in. But
it's tricky. He's going to have to go for RNG shots if he wants anything from it. And he might just go for a shot out.
One off.
Oh, wow. Okay. RNG shots, 489. Nice catch, Andy.
That wasn't lucky at all.
That was lucky for Dark God. Lorraine 155-51 has a low arc, so you can kind of lead shots a little bit better, and it is slightly more accurate, so you can kind of flick shots
just completely re-aimed.
Yeah, that's not fun. It's not fun when you're the scout there. And well,
and 07 are just bleeding HP right now. They're down by about 3K. Andy Pants takes another shot from Drock. He's down to 804. And I don't see really any way in for this at this point for 07. Remember, 07 are the attacking team. They still have to make some sort of play here as Arclit misses a shot onto Drock. And with all this HP being bled by 07 and not really chipping away too much at Eclipse, I don't see them having many options to get into this. And Dark God Zim puts another shot into Rocks and makes that even more that 07 have lost.
Yeah. And now, if you look at the positioning on the map, 07 is spread all the way from Alpha 6 down to Kilo 1. So almost completely across the map, about as far as you can put yourselves and not be able to support. If Eclipse, with a faster lineup, were on the battlefield, they might be able to respond appropriately. But looking at the way Eclipse is set up, 07 can get away with spreading their bat chats out a little bit and trying to maybe put some cap pressure in the east, force movement from Eclipse to respond, see what they can kind of accomplish. But we'll have to see what Eclipse decides to do, and if 07 can play it safe and not make any mistakes.
Let's get this push from Eclipse. They're going to go clear the 1-2 line right now. They have everything out in force. IS-7 is going to lead the scout run. Tigers is going to be right behind them, and they're going to push down here, and they have to try to find major issues in Makos quickly because they're going to have the camo bonus in their favor, and Drock's going to probably take another couple shots before he's close enough to spot him.
Yep. Makos managing not to be lit yet. He's loaded. Drawcab is, unfortunately, for 07, actually not lit anymore. Now he is. Makos should be able to get a hit. There he goes. And Andy Pans as well is in the area along with major issues. And I'm wondering how they decide to handle this and if this goes well enough. It looks like also 07, by the way, isn't going for any cap pressure. So they're actually going to decide we're just chilling out.
And HP going back and forth for these teams. Eclipse actually taking a lot more damage than they would have liked to. Makos down to a one-shot, 70 HP. Major Issues picks up the kill onto Drock. And that's 2 tanks down now for Eclipse. And they're only up on HP by about 2,000.
Yep, this is not bad at all for 07. They can make this work, but Eclipse still has a place in this battle. We'll have to see Warband.
By having significantly more guns alive, They are bleeding HP right now. Major Issues took a big shot there a moment ago.
And I think
there's 3 one-shotters left alive.
Yeah, and I think mobility is king right now with the number of tanks on the battlefield. Just having Bat Chats alive right now is massive. Warbander's a one-shot, yes, but he's still got the ability to put 4 shells out likely before he goes down. At the same time, Fosta as well can be a nice distraction going in first, just keeping Tiger occupied while Warbander comes in to get the kill shot. Or maybe not. Fosta can just ram. That works too. That's totally fine.
T1 Diabetics, Permatract actually, he can't repair it, so he's stuck here, and Makos is actually going to pick up this kill.
Nicely played. Oh, a little bit of a miss right there. Follow-up's going to get it, though. Warbender gets the kill. And now Leif has a full health mouse, and Dark God Zim about to go down to Fosta.
And while this was looking really good for eClipse for a short while there, 07 managed to claw this one back in. They really punished that one-line push, and eClipse really didn't capitalize on it.
No, not at all. I think I have to give a lot more credit to 07 for playing the flex game well. For not getting bogged down, not allowing themselves to get pinned, staying mobile, not giving eClipse an engagement they want. They took the engagements where 07 needed engagements. They did not take engagements where eClipse wanted engagements. That's the important part here. When you've got Bat Chats, lighter tanks, faster tanks, you want to stay mobile. And that's the important part. And a lot of teams tend to forget that. They'll bring more mobile lineups, but then they'll get themselves caught in an engagement with heavy tanks that they otherwise have no business being there with. And sometimes you can give credit to those tanks, the heavy tank group, but in many cases there's plenty of blame to be placed on that attacking team for making the mistake in the first place.
Yep, and at this point, just down to Leif and his mouse up against the 4 tanks from 07. They still have artillery left alive as well, so they're not going to be in any hurry.
Yeah, but with the way the mouse is, you could somehow clutch it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could, if you were good enough, angle all day, every day, and deal enough damage to actually kill all of the tanks.
You also have to remember that eClipse are actually defending right now, so he just has to let the 2 minutes burn down.
Yeah, there's a way he could actually win this by just living long enough, right? And there we go. Foster's going to put out the track shots, and that's probably going to do it.
He's blading HP left and right. Warbander's going to come in. Rock's going to close as well. Artie gets another shot onto Leif. And Rox actually bounces a shot on the side of the mouse.
This is taking comically long. This is that's what it's like taking a mouse on. This is what I'm talking about when I say Bat Chats and autoloaders just aren't that effective against the mouse these days. Because really, they just struggle. They just have a rough time with it. And everyone just bobbing around, making Leif just suffer. The guy who left their team to join eClipse.
And another bounce from Rox onto Leif. And finally, Fosta is loaded in time to clean that up. And that's going to be 4-3, still in favor of eClipse.
Not bad. Not bad at all. This is getting ever closer to denying eClipse their opportunity to go to second place and make their way to the finals for free.
Yeah, they just need an overtime win.
Yeah.
Because a overtime loss would put it at would put them tied with Dare, but Dare have the tiebreaker. So they need the win in at least overtime to guarantee get that second place spot. You know, we haven't really mentioned it too much. They need the win tonight to get that second place free bye to the offline regional finals. Otherwise, they have to play again on Thursday in our online playoffs.
Yeah, that's the big question today. This is something I did not expect to have to actually meet. I know 07 is the kind of team that upsets someone right before the playoffs, like they did with Aquatic last time, but something made it seem unbelievable. It didn't seem like eClipse was a team that would allow 07 to get a win like that. But after a rough start, 07's finding themselves back in this series. And even looking at the post-game, the S-Tank from Makos, solid play, 70% accuracy, 3,600 damage. Dark God Zim and the Lorraine 155-51 did work that battle, so did Arklet and his Artie. Fosta and Warbander and their Bat Chats also putting up solid damage. And that Type 5 actually proving that it's no joke as well. Able to deal a respectable amount of damage.
Yep.
And so now we're getting ready to go into what could be the final battle but we've been in what could be the final battle for now 2 battles in a row.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind is the tiebreaker tonight is Ghost Town, a map that 07 have a comically bad record on.
Oh, yeah.
So 0 for 6 so far on the season, so that's not going to give them a whole lot of confidence going into that one.
Yeah, but it does mean that you can't research their strats very well because they probably throw them out the window every time.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to see what they can do as we head into our next battle here in a moment.
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
What? What do you? Yeah.
Oh, Arclet. Oh, Arclet. This is actually going to be the second time we've seen this tank tonight. And coming in here, 407, an Object 261, as well as an RU, 2 S-Tanks, and 3 Batchettes. Eclipse, an IS-7, a Mouse, a Type 5, 2 Batchettes, a Grill, and an RU-251. Tier 10 artillery starting to become a little bit more commonplace.
You know, the Object 261 is just one of those old choices for Prokharovka. This is something, like, the 261 was the choice artillery 4 and 5 years ago in this game. And now we've come full circle.
Well, they introduced other arties, such as the M53-55, when they moved all their artillery up to Tier 10. And then also the addition of the Conqueror gun carriage also is a rather mean choice as well. So,
yeah. But Rockstar, for now, unless I'm seeing a DC call, which are we, or are we not? We're still going, right? Looks like T1 was reporting some packet loss. But he might be able to.
Everyone else is
there he
acting
goes.
like it's still a game.
Yep, it's still a game. Let's take a listen in with Eclipse and see what they're up to as we get into the battle.
You got lit?
Yeah, I got lit by the RU.
Well, Nonik, what are you doing?
Who shot?
Good luck, photo.
We don't know where the rest of
They're
these
destroying
are,
like some shits.
Okay, I'm going through now. Crossing. Our plan is to go east, correct?
Yep.
Oh my god. Why?
The packet lost again?
This is just so retarded. Like, this is actually pissing me off.
Oh,
Like, I can't go
we
one
can't.
fucking match without this game actually fucking working properly.
I mean, it's
Can't do
the
anything about it
TS
now,
and
so.
the game. It's probably your net worth.
It's probably a
to,
network
like,
man.
They're knocking the shits.
Because your team speaks
I
really
think
Our
they
team
can
is
hear,
buying
yeah.
into him, so. Yes, I think there was 2,
Because
but
they're
I'm not. We don't know.
destroying.
We have no idea.
No, I just shot that.
Okay.
So thanks, and Hill can shoot.
I'm not getting lit here. Like, I'm really aggressive.
Okay,
I'm not
come
getting lit.
on.
I think we should go.
They have no heavies, so I'm just going to play a little more east. Like, I don't think I need to be right
Hey, should I go?
here yet.
Am I going here?
Yeah.
Okay.
With 7? Okay.
I think they have to like take trap.
Okay, are you behind low?
There's RU. He's going to light me. Yeah.
I got lit.
I got lit.
I just stay near the track and you
I
can
got lit on
stay
hill.
safer
Can you
from my
send
Move down off hill.
Bad
Move
shot
down off
here.
hill. They're trying to
Okay.
be behind us.
I'll play against our youth.
I'm just not even gonna. I'm just gonna go like over this. I'm not gonna get in water.
Leif is going to get
Lost
into the
RU.
town. Photo
RU's just
Costa
poking.
might try to shoot at me. This is just a mess.
Are you
I'm getting
looking
into
for
town.
I put a shot in the RU. It was a crit though.
Wall didn't.
They're just lighting.
I
for
didn't go all the way in water.
They're just lighting
I'm
for
just-
artillery. We need to get cap pressure going. Just why don't we let them have that and just go back north?
I'm going. I'm getting the fuck out of the south. Already.
Leif,
I'm in a
that's
ping
right.
already location 8-2.
Okay, we need to.
Let's
we
get
need to
people on
control
cap.
it.
Get ready to. We gotta bully this. We can't play long game against this RU and shit.
Zim, can you leave from there?
Can we destroy
Yeah,
the
I
building?
can. I will.
Can we destroy the building?
I'll cover you.
At all bad?
Yeah. I'm bringing it down.
So I can get shots, yeah.
Zim, go to cap,
I'll
right?
shoot it.
Hey,
I'll
I'm
cover
just
you.
gonna play north of IS-7. Should be fine.
They're not gonna have any tanks.
Don't know if
right
it
now.
was AP or HE that he hit me with. I think it was AP.
I lit.
Actually.
I think.
Bad?
Two tanks.
I
It was
was
AP.
low. Are you?
Both bad?
They're pushing photo. They're pushing photo.
They're
Warband
Okay,
is
understood.
committed.
Let's get shots in those
Coming
bats.
back.
Just fuck them. Warband.
I tracked major issues.
Warbender. 427,
Hey, yo,
1427.
hard push.
Trying
It's
to
a hard
kill
push.
you.
Just fight the bats. This is really good. What the fuck are you doing? I got kill
Warbender,
shot. Okay,
majors,
Reloading.
majors.
Get major. 509.
just committing.
509.
Tigers coming.
I
Coming.
can't hit major.
Arm
I'm gonna
collision.
shoot S.
I got one more.
Major. Can somebody kill
Keep
major?
farming.
I can't hit.
I can get them in 5.
I got him.
Okay.
I'm
Just
shooting
get
anti-pan.
easy shots. Whatever shots you have, guys. Keep
I'll
them.
shoot STRV next. Are you use a one shot? If
Okay,
you kill him,
that's the reason one shot. Makos is killing me.
Somebody,
I'm shooting. Can anyone finish it? Makos is. I can try.
No,
I can shoot this as free. I can shoot this as free.
I can finish. Okay. Oh my god.
All right, and there you hear it. That's Eclipse calling their focus fire, and you can see the results right now. Kills are coming in as it looks like this is about to be the final battle, Rocks. I don't see this going any other way, as it is currently 3-4.
This is going to be Eclipse guaranteeing themselves the second place spot, the free buy into our offline regional finals, which will be April 8th here in Burbank.
Yeah, it just feels prophetic. We felt like Eclipse has always been that second place team. They proved it last season with their placement. It almost seemed like they were untouchable next to every other team in the league. But this season's been closer. It's been more competitive for that second place spot. We've seen Dare put up a good fight for it, as well as Top Tier also getting into the ranks, as well as Aquatic M60s. 3 teams, whereas last season I would have told you no one was even close to Eclipse after you got past Apex, now known as Elevate. And with Arclet being the last tank alive in that 261, he's able to take out Leif in the mouse. Kind of a last hurrah for his team.
Arclet put up some good damage this game. However, why they decided to go YOLO aggressive there at the end, despite having a tier 10 artillery on their team and no real cap pressure, I'm not quite sure what that decision was about.
I think that was an attempt to try and throw Eclipse off of their game, but instead it looks like it worked against them. This isn't over, though. Both of these teams have a story from here, Rockstar. For Eclipse, this means that they will be jumping into second place securely. They will not be playing in the playoffs later this week. On Thursday, they will be going straight to our finals. No matches there. But for 07, they, I believe, are now going to be solidifying, and that's going to be, we'll get to the standings in a little bit more detail later, but 07 is going to hold their position. Nothing's going to change for them. This is just going to be business as usual. They will still go to the playoffs. They will still have one more opportunity to try and get to our finals.
And they'll be squaring off versus Dare Rising now on Thursday. And then the other match will be Top Tier versus Aquatic M60. So make sure you guys tune in on Thursday to see that, because those online playoffs are going to be something to watch. And remember, Fantasy is also going to have its own day for that. So there's going to be its own a lot of prizes for Thursday as well. So this marks the end of the regular season for the Fantasy League. So when the finals are up, standings are up tonight, we'll know who the season winners are, who walks away with the Type 59s, and a whole lot of gold.
Oh, yes. And I think this is good for both teams. This is about expected. I think 07 just got a chance to show us that they actually are a dangerous team. And not to disrespect them when it comes to the playoffs. Because while they may be down in 6th place right now, and they will be staying there, look at this. Rox, he just dealt 2,600 damage against Eclipse, a team that, well, is now in 2nd place and has been a dominant force. Something that you didn't expect to see in the past versus Eclipse. Because the last time these teams played, it was 07 versus Eclipse was a 0-5 loss. 07 got completely wiped. So from last time to this time, they have significantly improved their gameplay.
Well, and part of that has to do with Arclet stepping into that lineup and changing things around, making it a little bit more decisive. Looking at stats on the night, no Nick, no skill, 406 fantasy points.
He manages to go over 20k damage.
Arclet also put up a lot of really good points tonight. 458 fantasy points. Tigers 311. Photo Finish 360. Drock almost 400. T1 Diabetic another 350. Leif only 260. Rather quiet night for him. Andy Pans also 365. So overall, pretty solid night for Eclipse, but 07 definitely making him work for it.
Absolutely. So a lot of respect there to Eclipse. Take a look at the fantasy points. Top scorer is going to be Arclet tonight. Behind him is Dark God Zim. If you picked him up, good for you. No Nick, no skill. One of my picks, Drock. And then look at the second page. If you picked Tigers, Aghako, Zitz, might have a chance. I got Aghako today. I feel good about that one. But with the length of this match, if you stacked 07 versus Eclipse during the Fantasy League, you are looking good.
Yeah, because that first match, there was not a whole lot of points there to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
So overall, though, it was pretty good stuff from Eclipse tonight, and we're actually going to be joined by Leif now to talk about it.
All right, Leif, welcome back to the broadcast, sir. We saw this match. This match went way closer than the last time we saw Eclipse versus 07 go. What do you think about that?
I mean, they definitely brought some new stuff, and they took some games. I had some difficulty one match. I had to go get a pizza at the door. I don't know.
Oh, what was that? Is deep dish pizza from Chicago?
It's not deep dish, but I don't know who sent it. It's
Would you look at that? I wonder where
kinda
that
see
came
it.
from. eClipse, does that say sucks?
Yeah, it says sucks.
All our love. And is that an 07 symbol written on there?
Yeah, it's an 07 symbol.
Oh, I think that might be our clue.
Yeah, I'm getting an indication from that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's adorable, by the way, Leif. Perfect, sir. For that match, for a moment, once we got past like the second half, I could say, it felt like 07 was back in the match. Was there a difference in the gameplay that you saw, or from eClipse altogether, from the early parts in that series to later?
I think, at least initially, we struggled a little bit with our attacks, but we sorted it out. There were some connection issues, I think, for T1, which made one of the games hard. So
we heard some of that, actually.
I'm not sure if you were listening in.
We
to T1.
We caught some of the saltier moments, I think, especially on Prok.
Prok was the difficult one for him, I think.
Yeah. How do you guys deal with that when something's going wrong and one member of your team is struggling to kind of stay even and cool-headed? What do you guys do to try and help a player with that, get it back into focus?
We just told him there's nothing you can do. Just gotta have to play with it.
Deal with it.
He's in the match. It's a tank. You gotta deal with it, basically. That's what it boils down to. It sucks. We've all played with it. It's the worst because you can hit the shot and then you miss and you're like, well, this is great.
Do you usually at what point do you choose to bench a player because of connection issues?
I would say if they're fully disconnected. In this case, it's kind of intermittent. It's packet loss that he's having. You can hear his voice kind of turns into a robot. So it's hard to say. If you bench him, it clears up immediately. You kind of feel bad about it.
Yep. So now with that win, Leif, this is going to be your second time heading to Burbank. Now that you guys have guaranteed second place, how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I'm really excited to kind of get back there. Hopeful for my 07 comrades. Good luck to them. Hoping to see them again. But I'm excited to go with eClipse. I think we have a good shot at doing well, and we got some time to prepare for it. This match was a good indicator that we have stuff to work on. So it's good.
I think that's a strong play right there. Leif, I think you understand exactly where you guys are. I think we can definitely agree. Any final words before we let you go and celebrate with your team?
No. Thanks to you guys. It's been a good, season. Thanks to eClipse doing it, and good luck to 07 on Thursday.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, Leif. We'll see you in Burbank.
All right. Thank you.
See you then, sir. All right. We're going to have Leif back again. Different